There are 8.7 million animal species on this planet right now. Animals that use tools, solve complex puzzles, recognize human faces. Later in this video, we'll see an animal who has 9 brains, an animal that gives its friends personal names, and an animal that, when tested, consistently recognized what it didn't know.
Level 1. The jellyfish.
A jellyfish doesn't have a brain or any centralized nervous system. They have thousands of nerve cells spread across its entire body in a loose web. To put that in perspective, your eyes alone have more nerve cells than a jellyfish's entire body. So what does a jellyfish experience? Probably nothing in any meaningful sense. It senses things. It responds to things. But there's no one home processing any of it. Here's the thing though. Researchers at the University of Copenhagen found that box jellyfish can actually learn. Not just reflex, actual associative learning. Connect this signal, expect that outcome, adjust behavior accordingly. With 1,000 nerve cells and no brain, still learning. I don't fully know what to do with that information, but it means that even at the absolute floor of awareness, something is registering the world. We just can't call it self-experience yet.
Level 2. The panda.
Arguably the most universally loved animal on the planet, the literal face of the WWF. And somehow, despite all that, one of the least self-aware creatures we'll talk about today. Pandas do have a functioning brain, they experience stress, they bond, they play as cubs. Any reasonable person watching a panda would say, yeah, that animal is feeling something. Pain hurts, warmth is good, danger is bad. That's primary consciousness, a continuous, real-time experience of the world. But put a panda in front of a mirror and it stares back at a stranger. No self-recognition, nothing. Pandas exists entirely in the present tense, emotionally rich. No concept of self, no interior story. Someone described it to me once as, there's a movie playing but no one is watching it. The experience is real, the observer just isn't there yet.
Level 3. The dog.
Man's best friend, the animal we've lived with longer than any other. The one we let sleep in our beds, share our food and watch us cry. And according to science, for the longest time, not self-aware because dogs also fail the mirror test. But here's the thing, the mirror test assumes self-awareness is visual. It assumes an animal recognizes itself by sight. Dogs don't live in a visual world. They live in a world of smell and sense, and no, before you come for me in the comments, pandas can't smell themselves into self-awareness either. They are dumb. Okay, back to dogs. When researchers replaced the mirror with scent samples, the dog's own scent versus others, dogs consistently treated their own smell differently, recognized it, processed it as something distinct. That's self-recognition. It just doesn't look the way we expected. And beyond that, dogs can read human emotional cues better than any other species on the planet. They understand pointing. They track your gaze. They experience what researchers now identify as jealousy, grief, something very close to guilt. Level 3 isn't just feeling, it's social feeling. The dog knows other minds exist and it cares about them.
Level 4. The crow.
I want to tell you something about crows that I think about more than I probably should. Crows hide food. Lots of animals do that. But when a crow notices another crow watching it hide food, it goes back and re-hides it. Different spot, while the other crow isn't looking. Think about everything that requires. It has to know it is being watched. It has to predict that the other crow will go looking for the food. It has to model what the other crow knows, and then act to deceive it. That's not instinct, that's theory of mind. All corvids, including crows, ravens and magpies, also make tools. Not find and use tools. Make them. Strip bark, bend wire, build hooks out of materials they've never encountered before, to retrieve food from containers they've never seen. The Eurasian magpie passes the mirror test. Most other corvids don't, but still demonstrate behavior that requires modeling themselves and others inside their own head. Level 4 is cognitive consciousness. The crow has built a mental map of the world, and it has placed itself on that map.
Level 5, the octopus.
3 hearts, 8 arms, 9 brains, and the most unsettling entry on this list. 2/3 of an octopus's neurons are not in its head, they're in its arms. Each arm has its own cluster of neurons, its own local processing system that makes decisions, responds to touch, navigates obstacles, all without asking the central brain for permission. The octopus brain doesn't know what its arms are doing, not in real time. The arms just act. The brain gets a report later. So what even is an octopus? Is it a one conscious thing or 8 semi-conscious things loosely coordinated? Nobody knows, and I mean that literally. Peter Godfrey Smith, a philosopher who spent years diving with octopuses to study them, wrote an entire book on this question and still couldn't land on a clean answer. That's not a gap in our knowledge. That's a gap in our entire framework for understanding minds. And this is why the octopus is the most important entry on this list. Not because it's the most conscious, it's not at the top, but because it breaks the whole framework. We built this ranking from the inside. We designed the tests, we chose the metrics, and almost every single one of them is tuned to catch what we recognize as mind, because it resembles ours. In its evolutionary journey, octopus found a completely different path to intelligence. Different architecture, different body plan. Some researchers now say that asking is a human more conscious than an octopus barely makes sense. Like asking whether blue is bigger than Tuesday. The two things might not share a common scale. I don't have a clean conclusion for the octopus. I just think we should sit with how strange that is for a moment.
Level 6. The dolphin.
In 1995, 2 biologists marked bottlenose dolphins with visible paint, then put them in front of mirrors. The dolphins didn't react to their reflection as another dolphin. They used the mirror to inspect the mark on their own body. Mirror test passed. But the thing that actually gets me about dolphins isn't the mirror, it's the names. Each dolphin develops a unique signature whistle, its own personal identifier. And other dolphins use that exact whistle when calling to them specifically. They have names for each other. They also transmit behavior across generations culturally. One dolphin develops a new hunting technique somewhere in the ocean, others learn it, pass it on. That's not genetics, that's culture. Level 6 is where self-awareness becomes something else entirely. Not just I exist, but I exist among others who also exist. And I understand something about what's going on inside them.
Level 7. The chimpanzee.
Everything we've covered so far, emotion, social intelligence, tool use, self-recognition, theory of mind, the chimpanzee has all of it. And then one step further. In a series of studies at Georgia State University, chimpanzees were given memory tasks where they could either answer immediately or pause and signal uncertainty. Essentially ask for more information before committing to an answer. They consistently behaved as if they knew what they didn't know. That's metacognition, thinking about thinking, a mind that can turn around and look at itself. Chimps pass the mirror test. They have cultural traditions that vary by region. Different chimp communities have different tool techniques like dialects. They plan for the future, they grieve, they understand death. And here's the part that's genuinely hard to sit with. Their cognitive architecture tested across multiple domains is not dramatically different from ours. The gap between the most cognitively capable chimpanzee and the least cognitively capable human, in terms of raw underlying machinery, is smaller than the gap between a chimpanzee and most of the other animals on this list. That's either humbling or alarming. Honestly, I think it's both. So here's where we land. On the spectrum of animal consciousness, there does seem to be a genuine progression. From the jellyfish's 1,000 nerve cells reacting to light, up through emotion, social awareness, self-recognition, all the way to the chimpanzee sitting quietly, aware that it's aware. But I keep coming back to the octopus, because the octopus reminded me that we built this ranking from the inside. Every test, every metric, every definition of consciousness we use, we designed it. And almost all of it is shaped to find what we recognize as mind, because it resembles our own. What if there are forms of awareness that our tests simply aren't built to find? What if the octopus, with its 8 semi-autonomous arms, its completely alien architecture, is having an experience that science currently has no instrument to measure? The question, what is it like to be something else, might be permanently unanswerable. But the moment you seriously ask that question, something shifts. You stop looking at animals the same way. Something in you just stops being so sure that the lights of consciousness are off in there.